Right. So the conservation of energy. Well, this is often taught using using a sentence, something like, "Energy can cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred from one." Transferred means changed, so it can only change from one form to another. So, in other words, you can go electrical into kinetic, and heat maybe, or thermal. A light bulb converts electrical energy into light and heat, and so on and so forth. So it cannot be created or destroyed. Now that's how it's usually taught. I came across another way of thinking about it, which I quite like. I think this way, what you generally get taught is important and useful, and definitely the kind of thing they want you to state in the exam. But also, what I'd like to think about is that there has always been, and will always be, the same amount of energy in the universe. So, in the whole of the universe, we can imagine a certain amount of energy that exists in there. So, let's imagine that as like a this shape. The size of this shape represents the amount of energy. Okay. In fact, yeah. This is always going to be this size. This is the total energy. Now, this can be separated up into various other types of energy. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock that. Oops, that's not what I want to do. I'm going to lock that. And let's say to start off with, then it's all it's I don't know, it's all thermal energy, maybe. Okay. And then after a while, the amount of thermal energy goes down. We'll make the thermal energy red, and you can see it doesn't mean that the energy was disappeared. The leftover energy must be just a different form. So maybe that one is kinetic energy of something, lots of different moving objects, maybe. Okay. So now, but still, added together, they make up the same amount, right? Um, maybe after that, maybe some thermal energy gets converted into another type of energy. So again, it goes down, but then they've got this missing gap which needs to be filled because no energy can be created or destroyed. It will always make up the same amount. So maybe that could be, I don't know, electrical energy. Okay, electrical. Um, Now, these changes from one type into another are happening all over the universe, and there's multiple different types of energies, and they just get changed from one type into another. Just like the example that I just stated, a light bulb converts electrical energy into light energy and heat energy, in fact. But also before that, the battery to power the light bulb in the first place converted chemical energy into the electrical energy. But then before that, how did the chemical energy get into the light bulb? Sorry, how did the chemical energy get into the battery? Well, we needed to make the battery in the first place. I'm not quite sure how that reaction. There was some sort of chemical reaction which happened in order to get to that. Or we take an example of, like, if I go for a run. While I'm running, I've got kinetic energy. But where did my kinetic energy come from? It came from the food that I ate. The food that I ate had chemical energy in it. And so the chemical energy from the food that I ate was converted into kinetic energy as I was running, but also into thermal energy and a variety of other things, maybe sound energy and so on. So the most important thing that you need to know about this topic is that energy can not be created or destroyed, and if it can't be created or destroyed, then that means the total amount of energy in the universe must stay the same, and it must have always been the same because it's no new energy has been put in, but and no energy has been taken out because it can't be created or destroyed. The only other thing to think about, which is actually outside of this topic, but if anybody wants to be a bit clever and say to you, that's not quite true, the only other thing that would say that this is entirely true is that actually matter can be turned into energy. Now, this is getting outside of your specification. This is off topic. It's a bit more, it's not off topic, but it's more advanced. But basically, this guy, this German guy called Einstein came along and said, was he German or Austrian? I think he was German. He spoke German. And he came along and said E equals mc squared. Now, in a nutshell, that basically means energy can be converted. So E stands for energy, M stands for mass. Energy can be converted into mass. I won't go into any more detail than that. So if anybody wants to be a bit clever and say that's not true because mass can be turned into energy, then you can tell them, all right, fine, mass energy cannot be created or destroyed, and there always has been the same amount of mass energy in the universe. But as far as you're concerned, at GCSE Physics, this is good enough. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. Okay? Right. So